Okay.
Sorry.
So here's 500 grams of gluten-free flour with 1 teaspoon of salt sifted in, and it's made into this shape so that you can pour everything right in there and kind of start mixing it. This is 1 packet of dry yeast, that's 10 grams, plus 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and 200 milliliters of warm water. And so you can see the consistency. It looks like the top of a Coke float when you put ice cream in a glass and pour soda over it. It's kind of got this like really poofy, fluffy look to it, but it's actually liquid. So this is the first thing to pour into the middle. Get all of that in there. And start mixing it in.
Mm-hmm.
Once this is completely absorbed, I'm going to put in the egg. 1 egg for this, and the egg should be room temperature. You never want to put anything cold when you're making bread, because the yeast needs to be warm. 1 egg. Now that I'm mixing this in, I'm going to put in the last bit of the warm water, the other 200 milliliters. And basically, to get it to the right consistency, I'll just kind of test it. If it's a little bit too dry, I'll add a little bit more water. And if it's a little bit too wet, I can add a little bit more flour. But generally, these measurements are good and make this the right kind of bread. I've also got my bread tin waiting, and it has about a tablespoon of sunflower oil in it that I've spread around so that it doesn't stick to the pan. And once I've got this nicely mixed in, I'm going to put the bread dough into the pan and let it rise in there. And I'm going to cover it with a clean cloth that I've soaked in warm water, and you wring it out so that it doesn't like drip into the bread, obviously. And the other thing that I wanted to demonstrate in this video about bread, especially gluten-free bread, is that it's never really going to get to a consistency like regular bread where you can like toss it between your hands and it kind of has a smooth texture. The gluten-free bread is always going to be a little bit gooey, kind of like this. It sticks to the fork obviously, but it's gooey. And you want to get lots of air into it. So the motion that I'm doing now to get the rest of the flour mixed in is really important, because you want to get air into it. The most difficult thing about making gluten-free bread is getting it to rise. So when you start to kind of hear a sound like when you put your foot into mud and you take your shoe up and it kind of goes like, you'll start to hear that as you're mixing in the ingredients, and you'll start to hear your bread kind of do that slurp pop kind of sound. And it's always going to be kind of like this really, really creamy mashed potatoes texture. And that's it.